How's it going, everyone? Shane here again, and I just wanted to share a quick project that I made for Halloween. It's just a little jack-o'-lantern, and it's got one of those electric battery-powered candles in it so that it lights up. So I'm going to be showing the step-by-step process just so, if you want to make your own jack-o'-lantern that's going to last year after year after year, and you want to make a custom shape and everything like that, you'll have an idea on how to get started. So let's take a look. So for this project, you're going to need a foam cube, just whatever size you need. For this specifically, I used one that had an 8-inch width, 8-inch depth, and 6-inch height. You're going to need a small battery-operated candle. I don't recommend using an actual candle for this because if the flame touches the foam on the inside, it'll melt it. Some wax paper, that's optional. It's mostly so you can hide the inside. Any kind of tape. Orange, yellow, and brown paint. I specifically used acrylic craft paint. Some all-purpose foam coat, bounced rubberizer, a 3-inch hot knife, either the 16-inch or 24-inch 3D scroll table, the freehand router, and some Styrogoo, and maybe some foam fusion, but if you already have Styrogoo, there's no need to order foam fusion. You should be good with that. Now this one that I'm cutting out is going to look a little bit different than the finished product, and that's because, like an idiot, I accidentally deleted all the cutting footage, so I'm redoing it. So first you're going to set up your 3D table with the bendable routing wire, and you're just going to bend that into the shape of the profile that you want for the jack-o'-lantern. Then you're going to use the other arm to pin down your foam, then drag your foam into the wire, and then just kind of rotate it through that wire until you get the full shape of the jack-o'-lantern. So once you've got the basic shape of the jack-o'-lantern cut out, you're going to bend your freehand router into the shape of the jack-o'-lantern ridges and just cut those out, starting from the stem and going all the way to the bottom. And once you're done with that, you can kind of reshape the freehand router, turning it off first, just to help shape the stem a little bit, because it might look a little strange afterwards. Ideally, you want it to follow the shape of the jack-o'-lantern, but still look like it's a separate part. So from here you can either mount your 3D scroll table with the straight cutting blade, or if you also have an original scroll table you can use that. That way you don't have to swap blades out. And you're just going to cut your jack-o'-lantern in half, kind of tracing around the stem, just because that's going to make it easier to glue together later. With the jack-o'-lantern cut in half, you're going to want to take your freehand router and kind of shape it into an arc, and then use that to scoop out the inside. You want to leave about a 1/4 inch thickness on the outer ring, and you want to be really careful not to accidentally cut through the front faces. Now from here you're going to want to take either some sandpaper or a sanding block and just kind of smooth the ridges over and smooth out the stem a little bit. You want it to be pretty smooth because that's going to make the coating a lot easier. Next, you want to draw your face on the jack-o'-lantern, just whatever design you want, and then use your 3-inch hot knife to cut out the face. After that, trace the outline of your battery-powered candle on the bottom and use your 3-inch hot knife to cut that part out. Now I don't have video for the next few steps, but they're pretty simple. So next you are going to paint the interior yellow. This is just going to make it more realistic to an actual pumpkin, and it's also going to help with the lighting effects. Once the paint's dry, if you want to use wax paper to kind of cover the insides, but still allow light to seep through. You're going to just glue that down with some Styrogoo. Now with all that done, we can glue the two halves together. Foam Fusion is going to give the best foam on foam bond, but if you have Styrogoo, that's going to be plenty strong. Now it's time for coating, and we're going to use Bounce with All-Purpose Foam Coat. My personal favorite ratio for these two is 3 parts Bounce to 2 parts All-Purpose Foam Coat. That's going to be a little bit of a thicker mixture, but it's still runny enough that it'll smooth itself out over time. The one thing is it's a little bit harder to apply, so if you'd rather it go on a bit easier, you might want to go for a mixture that's, say, 4 parts Bounce to 1 part All-Purpose Foam Coat, which is still going to be plenty strong. Once the coating's dry, to finish it all off, we're just going to paint it with some orange acrylic craft paint, and then we're going to paint the stem brown.